Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mr.T's Cello Studio session. Today, we're going to talk about the finger exercise for the bow. In my teaching, I found it's very, very important to have those finger exercise in a very young age. When you start a cello, often some student might find it's very boring and very tedious, very hard to do, but in the long run, I think it's absolutely necessary to develop the very flexible finger joint for bow change, for string crossing, for different bowings. I have another video of Cole, the secret for staccato, and it's talk about this particular finger exercise, which we're going to cover later. But that is one example of this importance of the finger exercise. So without further ado, let's start. Now, first finger exercise I do is the lifting exercise. So I put the bow on the string, not too close on the fingerboard, not too close to the bridge, right in the middle, right? So have your nice bow grip. Try not to be too supinated or pronated. Try to be more in the center and feel the balance of the bow right in the second finger and the third finger. And then let's bring the bow into our hand by only using the joint from here to here. So 1, 2, 3, those 3 joints plus the thumb 2 joints in the back. So the thumb should have this movement as well when we're doing this lifting. So just pay attention to this joint right here. When I bring the bow into my hand, I try to disappear, make those joints disappear. And then I push the bow away with the thumb in the back, right? The thumb right here. So the thumb normally is the biggest problem. A lot of time that the hand got really tight is because of the thumb. Okay, so you can go a little bit deeper to push the hair all the way to the string, or push the stick all the way onto the string. Okay, that's this up and down vertical exercise we call lifting. Now, the second one we call scratching. We can make this lovely sound by use the bow hair to scratch the cello. I remember that when we're doing recording session, and sometimes the sound engineering try to test the mic, and they ask us to scratch the mic. And they said a happy mic will have this nice scratch sound. So you can have this nice scratch sound of your cello. That's good. The same thing. Try to only use the joint from here all the way there. Absolutely no movement from the wrist or from the arm. But when we're doing the lifting, it's definitely not the movement from the wrist or the elbow. Okay, so eliminate all the movement only from the joint here. Or when doing this, it's only from joint there. So just eliminate all the other movements. So scratching, right? And then another thing is, I call it shark tail. Look at the tip of the bow. I will make the tip of the bow go in and out. If you imagine that the tail of the shark doing this motion, it's not a flip motion like the dolphin, but it's more on this way. Yeah, so it's in and out this way. The purpose of this is we can change the angle of the bow by only using the finger without doing all this movement from the wrist and up. So I'm using the thumb as my fulcrum, and using the first finger and the pinky to bring the bow in and out. Okay, so the purpose of the lifting is to have the suspension activated when we touch the bow to the string. So we not have this very harsh landing, but we can have very soft landing and produce a very warm and gentle lyric sound. Okay, and the scratching is give us this ability to change the amount of the hair from a very few hair to full hair in an instance, without changing too much of the wrist and other part of our body. Okay, so lifting, scratching, shark tail, and the other one is to turn the stick of the bow in and out. Okay, some people say it's like, you roll the cigarette in your hand, well, or you can roll like a pencil inside your finger. Okay, in our case, we roll the stick of the bow in our finger without doing, again, with the wrist, but purely just use our finger, the thumb and the finger. So the purpose of this is also give you the control of the amount of hair. It's kind of similar to the scratching, but this one is a little bit more difficult, more advanced, because you have to see my pinky is fairly straight because I am balancing the bow by using the muscle right here to balance the bow. Okay, when I put on the string, I don't have to worry about the balancing this part. Okay, that brings me to the pinky push-up. So put the bow in the upper half and then bring the bow up by only use the pinky. So this is special exercise, the push-up for this muscle. So this muscle should be very strong, should be very flexible, and it should be very independent as well. And will not flip the wrist, which this is another exercise. After we do pinky push-up, we can do this windshield wiper. So bring the bow into the semicircle and make it like windshield wiper. And the point is to see when you put the bow upside down, you can see it's your thumb in this nice position, which is on the corner of the frog, not under the stick. This is a very disadvantaged position because there's nothing to hold the thumb, and the thumb is basically not be able to hold the bow in a very secure position, and you're going to cause lots of tension later on with your muscle here. So on the corner between this nice tip of the frog and the stick, so normally is where I hold the bow, and I have a little bit cushion there to make the my thumb feel a little bit more comfortable. So the windshield wiper will give you a chance to check if the thumb is in the right place, and if you are not double joint, see if the thumb is curved. Okay, that is also another point. The curved thumb gives you the advantage of movement. Once your thumb is locked, then the thumb cannot move, and then the muscle here is very tense. We do use a straighter thumb when we play the upper half, the tip of the bow, but when we go back, at least when I go back, I try to make the thumb go soft and curve. Okay, so that is pinky push-up. And after that, I like to do a little bit dribbling of the bow to relax my hand, especially my thumb. If you do it right, this should feel very relaxed. Don't try to do each movement. You only need to drop the bow on the string in order to activate the spring motion of the bow hair and the stick, because there are a lot of power here. The bow wants to jump in this spot, maybe not here. It's certainly very hard to do in the frog, but in the upper half close to the tip, it's very easy. If you want to do quicker, just make the bow a little bit more close to the string. And after that, it's my favorite exercise, which is the drop and dribbling. So you find a place, maybe here, and let the bow drop with this nice continued trembling motion. And the secret is you only use first finger and the thumb in the back. And you see I release all these three fingers. And the arm is lower than the bow. I'm not doing this, which you can do, but it looks very weird. So I try to do this. And then I go, keep this nice angle all the way to the end. And when you do it right, it should feel like the bow is massaging your two fingers there. So lots of students find when they get it, they really love this. And when you feel bored in your rehearsal, in the orchestra, or in other occasions, circumstances, then you can start doing this. And later on, you can even do the upward motion, which is a little bit trickier than the downward motion, because you really have to squeeze a little bit. But yeah, try the downward first, and then upwards. You have to kind of figure it out later on. Okay, so oh yes, one of the most tricky one I think is the horizontal one, which is the quale. So I do in the air with the bow, with the left hand, make a ring, and doing left and right. Again, I try to make my top joint in the treetop, in the tabletop position, right? So make it really flat. And the thumb, straight, curve, straight, curve, straight, curve. So this one is the basic for quale. Okay, so that's the finger exercise, lifting, okay, and the scratching, right, and the pinky push-up, dribbling. Oh yeah, but we forgot the shark tail, and the rolling the pencil, and then pinky push-up, and then the dribbling, drop down dribbling, and last but not least, the quale bowing. So all this is trying to unlock all this joint to make them very flexible, very responsive, very sensitive. But I have to emphasize one point. Don't try to do it actively. Try to make them go passively. Make them responsive rather than active. Okay? So when you're doing a bow chain, my finger is moving, but I'm not trying to do actively, which when I was a student, I tried to do perfect bow change actively for so long, and really, really hurt my finger, hurt my hand, and I was miserable, because the more I try, the more I feel I am tense and unnatural. So in the end, I just give up and make the bow, let my hand follow the bow. And that actually make me feel much more relaxed. So try all these things and leave some comment if you found some of the exercises very useful. And if you have any questions, please let me know as well. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.